It gets easier.
Huh?
Every day it gets a little easier.
Yeah?
But you gotta do it every day. That's the hard part. But it does get easier.
Consistency, 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 man. That's the name of the game, bro. Don't get much simpler than that. If you keep going every single day and don't stop, your competition will fall off.
If you are consistent and you have none of the other attributes, you still might be successful. He's like, it's very tough for people who are consistent to not be successful. And he makes an especially pointed point about consistency because, in my opinion, it's one of the most difficult of the virtues for humans to do because we're so attracted to novelty.
I just don't stop, right? You know how when most people get a break and they're like, oh, it's a break, I'm about to chill. I'm gonna keep going, right? So I never have to get to that mind state of, all right, I gotta get back going again. I gotta readjust. I gotta put it back on the wall again. No, I'm gonna just keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm gonna alter it certain days. I might adjust it certain days, might pivot certain days, but I'm gonna try my best to stay consistent.
Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better, right? And you do that over a period of time, not like 1 month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then you can get to where you want to go.
Consistency doesn't guarantee that you'll be successful, but not being consistent will guarantee that you won't reach success.
They ain't ready for prime time. They ain't trying to really get right. They take days off, this day off, that day off. They lazy. I'm tired. No. Grind every day, one foot in front of the other, bro. And I promise you, I'm going to be lapping these folks, bro. Give it a year. Watch what happens.
What it feels like after you've worked out, or you've held the line on your food intake, or you've pushed through some monotonous project that you have to do, and all those things. When they're done, they feel good. And contrary to that, envision what you will feel like later when you let the discipline slack. You know the feeling weak and defeated, and you know that you're falling behind.
The only shortcut to life is to never miss a day. 1, because of compounding interest, and 2, because sometimes you get lucky. And you'll never miss a lucky day if you try every day.
An easy productivity hack: instead of spending time getting in the mood to work, just start working. Confront the work. People think they need perfect conditions to start, when in reality, starting is the perfect condition.
Okay, this year, I'm going to get better at that. Next year, this, and then so forth and so on. And then patiently, I was able to catch them.
And the significance of the consistency of doing something over and over and over and over and over in a moment that it's a controlled environment. And so it doesn't look to be as if it's something significant because you're doing it and it's not an opponent. You're doing it and you're envisioning it. You're doing it consistent and there's nobody there, right? You're in a controlled environment. Now, when the match happens, muscle memory, you do it without even thinking about it, right? Because you practiced it in a consistent way in a controlled environment. And so now when it really matters, in the situation, in the circumstance, like I say to cats all the time, can we be committed to the process of what we're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what we're doing, right? If the situation and circumstances change, does it change you, right? Now we're in a different environment. Now the circumstance and situation is different, right? But it didn't change who he was. It didn't change what he had practiced, right? Because now, this is not what I do. This is who I am, bro.
Yo, yesterday, I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm going to do the same thing again today, but I'm going to try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying. That's a real grind.
So get to know those 2 different types of feelings and ask yourself which one you want to feel in 10 minutes or in a half an hour. When the thing is done, when the discipline has been implemented, remember what that feels like, and then remember that those minutes and those hours, they turn into weeks and months and years, and holding the line in those critical minutes will put you in an infinitely better place, physically and mentally, if you maintain the discipline.
Because I believe when I'm consistent, I can build on consistency, not just in my life, but in several areas and aspects of my life that are tied to different people.
On the road to achieving your dreams, you must apply discipline, but more importantly, consistency, because without commitment, you'll never start, but without consistency, you'll never finish.
Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better, right? And you do that over a period of time, not like 1 month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then you can get to where you want to go.
Consistency doesn't guarantee that you'll be successful, but not being consistent will guarantee that you won't reach success. An easy productivity hack: instead of spending time getting in the mood to work, just start working. Confront the work. People think they need perfect conditions to start, when in reality, starting is the perfect condition.
1 day in the gym is basically imperceivable. 2 days in the gym, you don't recognize any change whatsoever. 100 days in the gym, and you're almost a new person. 1 day of playing guitar, you can barely play one chord. 100 days of practicing guitar, and you can play literally almost any song. So take the small steps every day. Do what you're supposed to do. And don't expect some incredible results in 1 day or 2 days or 10 days. Worthwhile things take 100 days. They take 500 days. Maybe they take 5,000 days. They take time.
If you go to the gym and you work out and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. And if you go to the gym the next day and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. Clearly there's no results, can't be measured, it must not be effective. So we quit. Or if you fundamentally believe that this is the right course of action and you stick with it, you commit yourself to the regime, the exercise. You can screw it up. You can eat chocolate cake one day, you can skip a day or two. It allows for that. But if you stick with it consistently, I'm not exactly sure what day, but I know you'll start getting into shape. I know it. Going to the gym for 9 hours does not get you into shape. Working out every day for 20 minutes gets you into shape. It's not about the events. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency.
But more importantly, consistency, because without commitment, you'll never start, but without consistency, you'll never finish.
I had 130 days in game, just sitting, looking at a screen, playing one character in one game. Imagine if I could put this kind of focus into something in real life and just make that seem a little bit like a video game. Imagine the results I could get then.
What's the number one thing that is holding most people back from reaching their full potential? You said the story.
The story is a story that we tell ourselves, and it's partly true. What happened to you as a kid, maybe you were physically, mentally, sexually abused. Maybe you were laughed at and picked on for, being fat or having a stutter. But whatever story that you end up telling yourself and you carry that into adulthood, you end up looking for evidence to then reinforce that story throughout the rest of your life.
You don't have to live anybody else's story. Sometimes people make it seem like you have to have certain prerequisites or a crazy life story in order to be successful in this world. But the truth is you really don't. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you have or don't have, what you lack, what you have too much of, but all you need to have is faith in God, an undying passion for what you do or what you choose to do in this life, and a relentless drive and the will to do whatever it takes to be successful.
The other thing that's so interesting about being alive is that you're all in. No matter what you do, you're all in. This is going to kill you. So I think you might as well play the most magnificent game you can while you're waiting, because do you have anything better to do? Really?
And so the moment you can realize that I can take back the pen that I've empowered others with, who have been writing in my book of life, and I could start rewriting my story from this day forward, how it goes, then you start looking for evidence for your new story. I can be lean. I can create financial freedom. I can be loved. I'm not just to be thrown away. I don't have to be in an abusive relationship.
Why not pick the best thing possible that you could do? Why not do that? Maybe you could justify your wretched existence to yourself that way. I think you could.
The time is now.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.
Get yourself educated, man. Read some books, learn to talk, learn to think, make yourself into something. Get the hell out there and make the world that put you here happy that you were put there.
But it's about self-empowerment. It's really about taking that pen back and rewriting your story, because I think we could all agree, until you die, you certainly have thousands of pages of blank pages left in your book of life. It's time to start writing your current story and not so much living out the past story that you had.
I don't care what you're going to do, but go out there and make something of yourself for God's sake. Be an honest person and work and get to the top of whatever it is that you want to get to the top of. You know, and then stand up for yourself like a respectable human being and be a bit of a light on the world instead of a blight.
The fear is never reaching your potential.
That's it.
That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man.
Yep.
And you look back and go, God, I could have been great.
Yep.
I could have been great.
We all have time. We all have time. What you've done wrong is that you didn't prioritize yourself.
I'm always waiting for everything to be perfect before I live my life. I'm never going to get to that where everything's okay, where everything looks a certain way. And in the meantime, I'm burning the best time I do have available. I'm burning that candle up. I'm burning this candle down, and I'm saying as soon as it gets bright enough or warm enough in here, I'm going to show up. But the candle's getting smaller.
What if it's a mistake? It's a mistake. Rest assured. What do you know? You're going to stumble around, right? And what's going to happen is this. You're going to not stay in stasis. You're not going to wander around in circles. And I see people like that. They said, well, I never knew what to do, and now I'm 40. And you might say, well, and there is a literature, too, that suggests that people are a lot more unhappy when they look back on their lives about the things they didn't do than they are about the mistakes they made while they were doing things.
If you want to change your life, you must change your ways. You must develop discipline. You must develop strength. It doesn't matter where you are in life. It really doesn't. Because the great thing about life is it's always your next move. Your next move that counts.
This has to be in you. Something in you has to wake up. And usually the only person that can wake it up is you.
You're a fool when you start something new. And so if you're not willing to be a fool, then you'll never start anything new. And if you never start anything new, then you won't develop. And so the willingness to be a fool is the precursor to transformation. And that's the same as humility. And so if you're going to write your destiny, you can do a bad first job. You're going to get smarter as you move forward.
What happens when I decide for myself that I'm going to do something different? Because, nothing changes and nothing changes, man. I just want to remind you, because, I've spent a lot of time in my life sitting around wanting things to change and not being able to make them change and not thinking I could. And I wish somebody had told me that earlier sometimes. That in order for something to change, there needs to be change.
What's the point of fighting my way up the mountain when someone else is just going to come up the easy way?
There is always going to be someone who does things the easy way. But that should not stop you from doing things the right way. It is your journey, young warrior. Only you decide when it ends.
Dude, that's actually insane.
I got another client just last month. That's what took me to 5K.
I've taken 14,000, made 52,000 out of it.
Everybody in the real world is making money.
The fact that they're asking for just like $50 a month for what's in here.
If you're not going to listen to a multimillionaire who's trying to help people make money, who are you going to listen to?